Yes, everyone, it is right here, the all-new Volkswagen Passat, and this has to be a very big relief, everyone, because the D segment was going to go away. That was the fear I had, at least. The Ford Focus, well, more like the Ford Mondeo, my apologies, they stopped operations in the EU market, and this was the case for many D-segment vehicles. It's also not clear what Stellantis intends to do with the Opel Insignia. Also be noted that this Volkswagen Passat costs 47,000 euros. Is it good value for money or not? We will find out in a moment, everyone. Let's get on with this review right now. Now, if we look at the front design of the Volkswagen Passat, we will see that it looks like a Volkswagen Golf in many ways, except the fact that it's angrier, and this is because of the headlights. If we look carefully at the headlights, the daytime running lights, the LEDs, they cover the headlights a bit. It's very interesting. For the rest, it looks very Golf-ish to me. And then also you get real air vents on the side. That is great. I don't know what it is about the Volkswagen Group, but lately they've improved a lot in their air vents. I'm impressed. But the bad news is you don't get a 360-degree parking camera. You only get parking sensors at the front and at the rear. If we study the side view of this Volkswagen Passat variant, the estate version, we see that Volkswagen has altogether sort of abandoned the boxy image it once had, especially for the Volkswagen Passat. The Volkswagen Passat had a famous reputation for being very boxy. That was what set it apart from the other D-segment vehicles. But now we're seeing something different. It seems like a mishmash between the Passat and the Volkswagen Arteon. Now, as we approach the rear design, Volkswagen has played it very evolutionary with the Volkswagen Passat. It resembles the previous generation Volkswagen Passat in many ways, everybody. But then also with this continuous rear light, it kind of reminds me of what Volkswagen did with the all-new Volkswagen Touareg. So which made me think of a baby Touareg. And this is funny because when I reviewed the Touareg, it had me thinking of a Volkswagen Passat from certain angles, an oversized Passat. So it's a bit funny what's going on right here. Now it is time to check out the interior of the Volkswagen Passat variant. Okay, so it's very interesting what's going on over here. Very cool. This time, Volkswagen hasn't really played it all evolutionary compared to the previous generation. They've made things very different, in fact, very similar to the Volkswagen ID models. And the biggest similarity I see to the Volkswagen ID model is this prominent screen right here that tilts towards the driver. It's become more driver-centric, I see. Very interesting how Volkswagen's gone about it. It's really decent. Now, first thing I'd like to point out is the electric seating adjustment, which is very pleasant. For the back support, the lumbar support, but to move the seat front, it suffers the same problem like other Volkswagen models. To move it front, it's at this side. Why not simplify things? Why have things at a mishmashed location? But it's fine. It's not a very big deal. Now, the transmission is right here next to the steering wheel, which is very good. Again, very similar concept to the Volkswagen ID models. Steering wheel, by the way. Steering wheel is... okay, something I have to get used to. Just one problem is that this is the inmost setting. You cannot move it further inwards, everybody, but you can move it towards you. So, yeah, that's fine. You can move it up, down, in and out. But then it should be noted that the steering wheel looks very big for some reason. It's very big, and it's a bit thick. It's a bit on the thick side, everybody. It's and the material is also quite firm. The leather wrapping is a bit on the firm side. But the buttons are nicely detailed. You just have to get used to it, but you will see it easily eventually. It's nicely detailed, and I like the way the steering wheel is presented. Points earned for presentation. This is very good. And the lighting controls on the side as well, very decent. There's this bit of the interior which looks like it's a storage, but it's not a storage whatsoever. So this is something I find a bit questionable because, you know, it's like, first it had me thinking it's a storage and it's not. And now, when it comes to the rest of the interior, Volkswagen has gone on the route of simplicity, which is not a surprise, which is very good. But it's really functional. You just have to depend on the infotainment system for a lot of things, which can be a bit problematic because the Volkswagen Group, just like other German car manufacturers, were known for their ease of driving. And that means having things at logic locations, having things at an understandable location, especially when driving. You don't have to fiddle with the screen so much. At least that was the case back in the days. But now things have changed. In the name of simplicity, everybody has moved everything to the infotainment system. So the concept is very similar to the ID models and the Volkswagen Golf. Two shutters right here. You can keep everything nice and simple. So you get wireless cell phone recharge, charging ports over there, and 2 cup holders, which I'm going to check out. They are of a bit fixed size, but they can hold things in place. They can be adjustable. And the second cup holder right here has something underneath so that you can open your bottle in place. Except it doesn't really work because I'm trying to open my bottle in place and it's not holding it in place. Thank you, Volkswagen, for attempting that at least. This is very popular in Skoda though. Now, I forgot to mention something about the seats. The presentation on the seat is beautiful, but too sporty for what this Volkswagen Passat really is. You get the Alcantara in the middle, white piping on the side, and leather on the side, which is really cool, but that's very typical of Volkswagen. They have a thing for white piping and Alcantara, and so does Audi. Well, Audi doesn't have white piping on their seats, thank God for that. Glove box. The glove box is really, really nice. It's good, but I'd say it's a bit on the average side. Central console storage has a really premium touch to it. You can open it. You also get this accessory, everybody. You can remove the accessory, you can put it back in for if ever you need it or don't need it. It's just be gentle with the accessories. And then also you get a 12-volt socket in there and a little belt to hold things in place. It's really nicely detailed, and I like this how they've maintained a bit of conventionals over here, because I've noticed with the Tiguan they didn't entirely do this. With the Tiguan they went completely, I'd say, innovative, which did a bit backfire in my opinion. But here they maintained the conventionals, and this is just excellent. Now you get this micro storage space right here. I can only imagine what it's really meant for. I think it's your key holder, and it's just right next to the start-stop button. Now it should be noted that Audi in particular, they have a thing for putting the start-stop button right here in the middle. Just looked up here and I noticed that you do not get any glasses holder, and you don't even get a panoramic sunroof or anything. I don't know what is it about Volkswagen lately, but they've improved their door bins a lot lately. They can hold a big bottle even at the diagonal position. That's great. I'm impressed. And the door bin is very spacious as well. And when it comes to the door presentation, the door handle is very good. It's very pleasant to hold on to. It's squidgy. It's not completely plastic like what I saw on the Tiguan. But just the only problem I'd like to point out is that the window buttons are very bland. They're just plastic. That's about it. Here you get beautifully decorated controls. You even get a piano black hazard light, which is great. And you get a nice tablet right here. But then when you look at the door, the window buttons, it looks basic, like as if it came from a Volkswagen Polo. Oh dear. Door handle. Now, the latch to open the door is very innovative. It reminds me of what I saw on Skoda. Now it's time to check out the back seats of the Volkswagen Passat variant. Now, because this is the estate version, there's acres of headroom. Nothing to complain about. It feels like a limousine indeed. It's very good how they've gone about it. I've got a lot of leg room, a lot of knee room, and a lot of headroom. It is immaculate. Now we should also check out the armrest. Oh, okay, it's a bit on the firm side to pull down, but then you get used to it eventually. Now there are 3 cup holders essentially over here, but the first one holds my bottle perfectly, but the second one is a bit loose, so it will, oh dear, oops, it falls down and it probably goes to the footwell of the front passengers. Just be careful. There we go. Door bin. The door bin is very good. The practicality solutions I've noticed in the Volkswagen Passat are immaculate. There's nothing to complain about almost. Now, I just looked here and I noticed some additional goodies. You get detailed climate control. You even get an air vent right here, 2 charging ports right there. This is excellent for road trips. Just too bad there isn't any panoramic sunroof. Speaking of road trips, you do get more privacy in case the tinted windows were not enough. Look at this curtain. Now, I just have to get used to this curtain because I give up. I have no idea how they're supposed to be used. But anyways, speaking of the back seat, you do get 2 coat hooks. One over here, one over there, and a handle right here. And there's something over there for an accessory. I'm not sure what. Just one thing that could be a bit of a hurdle is backseat pocket. It's nice. At least it's there, but it is leather and it's quite firm to pull. So just be careful with it, because after years it can get spoiled. Then there are micro pockets on the back of the seat. Very good, but I just wonder what exactly would you fit in there, because they're quite firm and they can be fragile in long terms. Just one thing I'd like to remark. It's any small movement you do, you'll hear a lot of squeaks on the seat for some reason. It's probably from the leather or from the fabric of the seating. Now the boot space is very spacious. I have absolutely no doubt this is directly related to the Skoda Superb. In fact, the boot space reminded me of the Skoda Superb a bit. This has to be one of the largest boot space I've ever seen, and it gets even better when you move this adjustable floor downwards. It's almost like a Volkswagen Touareg. Now I have a suspicion that this is probably the small sibling of the Volkswagen Touareg. Very interesting. And then you get latches to pull down the rear seats. Oh, and they go all the way down. That is just amazing. And you even get a 12-volt socket, hooks, and oh, wow. Oh, this is just great. Additional storage space right there. And you get a 230-volt socket right there. This is just great. And a number of tether points throughout the back. This is amazing. This car is perfectly equipped. Paint of the boot space is quite exposed. It sticks out very proudly. So in long terms, just be careful when putting luggages in and out. You don't want to scratch the body paint. Otherwise, you do get nice platings right here. So here's my conclusion of the Volkswagen Passat variant. The all-new Volkswagen Passat variant has seen massive improvements, especially with the design. Now, for the design, they've played it evolutionary, but this has to be the first time I've ever seen a Passat with strong references to the Volkswagen Golf. Like literally, the front looks like an oversized Volkswagen Golf. The rear had me thinking of a downsized Volkswagen Touareg. So I'm beginning to notice that Volkswagen is starting to release new vehicles that make references to other existing models of theirs. Now, whether this is something really to question or not, I don't really know, because to be honest, Volkswagen Group is not alone in this regard. I've noticed something embarrassingly similar with the Mercedes and BMW as well. So that is not the point. The point is, we have to talk about the value for money aspect. For a price of 47,000 euros, is this Volkswagen Passat variant good value for money or not? Everyone, I have one thing to say. This Volkswagen Passat is almost great value for money if we're talking about practicality. This car ticked many boxes. I was very impressed with the practicality solutions that were present throughout the vehicle. The interior, it was amazing. It reminded me of my experience with the Volkswagen Tiguan recently. It is great. But it suffers the same problem as other Volkswagen models, and that is, despite the high price tag, you are still greeted with parts that have conspicuous plastic, especially the window buttons, everybody. And this can be of selective taste. Now, this is where we talk about value for money in detail. If you're getting this as a company vehicle and you have a family, this is the perfect car for you. And it's also very good when it comes to fuel consumption and taxation, because first of all, it's not even an SUV. So therefore, it makes it ideal for long distances on the highway. Me, I personally love this Volkswagen Passat variant. This has to be one of the best D-segment car I've ever reviewed, and also one of the best estate wagons. Very practical, and there's almost no question about it. This also makes very ideal as a police vehicle or as a taxi, or in other words, a perfect company car for your business or just for you, for family purposes. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.